Theater of the mind. Fast forward 10 years, the economy bounced back, the world was at peace, and then a comet came across our paths and entered our atmosphere. Within days, the soot from the comet caused temperatures to drop below freezing in areas that had never seen freezing before, and rivers, streams, lakes froze. The masses were thrown into chaos. It was only until an electronic engineer discovered a fact that if you take a magnet and you rotate it within a field, it creates electricity. And that simple fact created what you could call the electrical magnetic revolution. From then on, power was available for the ice world called Zeton. A society had been there for hundreds of thousands of years because a spacecraft found a habitable planet in the Goldilocks zone and decided to seed it. What they did not know was that objects orbiting that solar system occasionally entered the Goldilocks zone and created deadly impacts. And this was one of those impacts that we could only guesstimate because of the hundreds of thousands of objects that were there in that orbiting solar system. Yet there were thousands upon thousands of individuals who were living there, prospering on the warm days that could do farming. Now that day has come where they must go underground and use the heat of the planet for which they are residing on, until they can develop the technology to call the people who brought them there all those thousands of years ago. And upon the findings of their technology, they discovered the materials to develop the technology did not exist. So what they had to do was invent it themselves. Although the factions of the different organizations of liquid upon a planet like this were always at wits with each other because of the things that they had to do to subscribe to their politics. They could only find a fandom of few who were willing to take on the challenge of building a great spacecraft. And this spacecraft would take off on a one-shot deal, headed for the center of their known galaxy. There was no lottery. It was only based on the fact that if you were there, you got to go. So everybody was always finding a way to get closer to the project. Finding the project was a dismal failure for many. The deaths of all those who tried to find it would be found by their corpses laying in the traveled way. Lady Jane and Mr. John were the two fantasy people who were about to find a way to fulfill their dream. Their dream was to gain access to the spacecraft with their two children, Apollo and Gemini. They would go before it, get on board, and get that restitution that they deserve because of the discriminations occurring over in their planet. As we all know, they never made it. Famine across this star system prevented anybody from gaining a viable food source. And therefore this idea never did make it. The planet died, and now it has become history.